I'm Danielle, your host of the Abridged to Motherhood podcast, the place where moms like you learn to thrive, not just survive through pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. I'm a birth and postpartum doula and a mom of two who's been where you are. My first pregnancy was filled with so much excitement, but it was also marked by stress, anxiety, and fear of the unknown. I thought I had everything mapped out, but when postpartum hit, I realized how unprepared I was for the physical, emotional, and mental toll of motherhood. It was overwhelming, lonely, and nothing like I imagined. When I found out I was pregnant again, I knew I needed to approach things differently. I made it my mission to not only prepare for postpartum, but to prioritize myself in the process. That shift changed everything. Now I'm here to help you do the same. Whether you're navigating your first pregnancy, feeling buried under endless advice, or struggling to figure out what you actually need for postpartum, this podcast is your safe space. You'll find practical tips, honest conversations, and expert insights to help you feel informed, supported, and empowered through every stage of motherhood. If you're ready to feel confident, prepared, and truly supported in your motherhood journey, stick around. This is for you. Hey friends, welcome back to the Abridged to Motherhood podcast. I am so glad that we are both here for another week because I almost thought that I was no longer going to have a usable laptop. But thankfully, when we got back home from a little trip to see my grandpa, I got it plugged back into apparently the right charger and it turned right back on. But I was so worried because I have yet to miss a Tuesday to bring you a new episode. And it is my goal to make sure that I release a new episode every Tuesday this year. And today's episode, let me tell you, this was such a struggle for me, especially in probably the first year of motherhood. And that was comparison, and especially on social media. So today we're going to be talking about how to avoid comparison traps on social media as a new mom. We're going to dive into all the common pitfalls of comparison on social media and how they can just really impact our confidence and joy as new mothers. You'll learn practical strategies to avoid these traps and create a healthier relationship with all things social media so you can focus on your own unique motherhood journey. I feel like so many of us can relate to scrolling through Instagram and seeing these picture perfect posts and wondering if we're falling short. And yes, often it is the influencers that we see posting the perfect curated picture with the matching outfits and everyone's smiling, but sometimes it's also just our neighbor or the girl we went to high school with who is posting her highlight reel of motherhood on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, and we're just thinking that we don't measure up in some way, shape, or form. And comparison just leads to these feelings of inadequacy, guilt, or the pressure to live up to these unrealistic standards. And social media can really amplify these insecurities instead of fostering genuine connection. And it's so difficult because there are a lot of great communities out there online these groups that we can join, but you never know if you're going to get compassionate responses or rude responses to a simple question that you may have. But we can work on training our brains, training our minds to filter out that noise and focus on the truth. So the first thing we have to do is recognize the highlight reel. When someone is posting spotless photos of their house, a perfectly dressed baby, but you don't see the chaos happening behind the scenes. And I actually love that more influencers are posting their messy homes, are posting the fact that they are kicking things out of the way to make it look like their home is clean before they're creating a video. If you follow Jane, I think she is absolutely hilarious, and she did that the other day, and she said, this is your reminder that things on social media are not real. And we have to remind ourselves of that because it's so easy to assume that what you see online reflects the whole truth, but it really doesn't. It's a little snapshot into someone's life, and it's what they are choosing to share. So we have to acknowledge that social media is curated, and that can help us have a more balanced perspective, knowing that what people are choosing to share is only a portion of their real life. And so often people are not sharing the hard. Yes, there are more of us out there that are telling the truth about our daily lives and experiences in motherhood, but there is still a lot of quote unquote perfection in the social media space, and we just have to recognize that that's what it is and remind ourselves that yes, that's a beautiful picture. Oh, I really like those matching outfits, but know that that is not someone's every day. Number 2, curate your feed with intention. This was something that in my probably first 6 months of motherhood, I really had to do. I stopped following people. I stopped following friends. I muted them on my news feeds because I just I couldn't stop comparing myself. I couldn't stop comparing my baby to what their baby was doing. And so I just really had to make sure that what I was seeing was not going to be triggering my anxiety and my depression and feeding into that loop of negative thoughts. And sometimes this also means taking the time to follow accounts that actually align with your values and bring you joy and can make your social media experience more positive. Maybe that means finding more comedians to follow or accounts that really focus on a lot of positivity. Maybe you need to follow more accounts that are being real about their motherhood journey because all you're seeing is perfect, 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 and you need to know you're not alone. Only you know what you need for your mind and your space and what you're dealing with in your motherhood journey at this moment. But continuing to follow influencers or pages that trigger that comparison, that's just not helping anyone. And it's really not going to help you look at motherhood from a lens of joy and peace. It can take some effort, but thoughtfully curate your feed to inspire you and uplift you instead of draining your energy. And this rolls right into number 3, which is setting boundaries for your screen time, your scroll time. This is so hard, but I think there are so many of us that are moving towards this because it's so easy to get sucked into one video after another, one reel after another, and just staying on these apps for lengthy amounts of time. So limit your screen time, especially during vulnerable moments like nighttime feedings. It is so easy to pull that phone out in the middle of the night, but try to think of other ways to keep yourself occupied. A friend of mine told me she had to keep a really crunchy snack on her nightstand, and that really helped her stay awake. For me, with my son, he was my second child, and I knew I didn't want to be scrolling in the middle of the night, so I started listening to audiobooks to help keep myself awake, or I would listen to music instead, or a podcast instead of just scrolling endlessly on social media during those nighttime feeds. It is so easy to get sucked into using social media as this default escape, a way to get out of our heads and distract ourselves when we are exhausted from parenting or just needing a break from all of the noise. But we really have to work on recognizing when it's negatively impacting our mindset. And setting those healthy boundaries allows you to focus on your own motherhood journey without this unnecessary pressure of what everyone else is doing or what so-and-so's baby is doing or what this influencer tells you you need to buy. I want you to hear me when I say that your motherhood journey is your unique journey, and to focus on that and not let anyone else's journey impact yours. Unless it is something that you want to do and you are interested in learning more about. But otherwise, block out that noise. Number 4, practice gratitude. I've talked about this before. When we are falling into that comparison trap, when we're triggered by what we see online and we want what other people have, whether that's material things or we want the baby that perfectly goes down for the nap at the scheduled time, or we wish our feeding journey was different, or we had that fancy new stroller, whatever it is. When you feel that trigger, shift your focus to what you are grateful for in your own life, but also in those moments where I am feeling very overstimulated with the kids, whatever it might be, I will pause and I will practice some gratitude and say, thank you that I am able to be home with my kids right now and take them to the store, and I'm not worried about the fact that I need to buy new toothpaste or whatever it is. I know where my funds are coming from. Thank you that I have enough funds to buy the exact toothpaste that I want. And I know that might seem silly to practice gratitude in that way, but it really allows you to let go of that comparison, and we're not letting it overshadow our own life or unique experiences, our own achievements in life. It helps keep us grounded in our reality and helps us to have so much more joy in our journey as well. And number 5, lean into real life connections. When we are sucked into this world on our phone, we think that we are getting some sort of interaction when we're commenting on other people's reels or DMing. And listen, I'm not saying that it is all bad, right? That is some of the way that I stay connected with friends and family that are not near me. And it is a great tool for that. But nothing can replace that spending time with your friends and family or your local mom group, because you are seeing someone in real life navigate motherhood. And if we rely on social media as our only source of connection or validation, we are just going to feel so lonely. Genuine face-to-face relationships foster encouragement and empathy, which social media just often lacks. And when you are on social media and in these groups, find the ones that are uplifting and encouraging. Find the ones that make you feel like you are not alone in your motherhood journey if you are going to be a part of those things. So let's review everything we talked about, because I know that was a lot, but let's go back through and talk about these actionable takeaways. Number 1, audit your social media feed and unfollow any accounts that trigger negative feelings. Number 2, set aside a daily time limit for social media use and then stick to it. That self-discipline is hard, but there's lots of ways to do this. You can set time limits. You can even set certain settings on your phone that they will shut off after a certain time. You can remove them from your phone completely, and maybe you can only look on your computer. And when you feel the pull of comparison, pause and write down 3 things that you're grateful for. And lastly, schedule regular in-person or virtual hangouts with supportive friends or fellow moms. Social media can be a double-edged sword, but with the right mindset and strategies, you can turn it into a tool for inspiration and connection rather than a source of comparison. Remember, your journey is unique to you, and the most important audience you're showing up for is the one in your own home. It's your spouse. It's your baby or babies. It's the day in and day out. So stay focused on what truly matters and give yourself grace. And I know from my own journey with postpartum depression and anxiety that comparison was really part of my struggle. And if you are struggling with your mental health, first of all, I want you to know that you are not alone in walking this journey. And I created the postpartum mental health toolkit for moms because I wanted a place where all of these different resources that I used during my journey, as well as my work now as a postpartum doula, that I have sent these to clients, these books, these podcasts, these other resources online because I wanted something all in one place for the mama who is saying, I am struggling right now and I don't even know where to start. This guide is going to help you do that. It's going to tell you where to find a good counselor near you. It's going to give you books and podcasts and quotes from other mamas and just the tools that you need to kind of jumpstart your journey in working towards solid mental health after having a baby. Whether you actually are struggling with postpartum depression and anxiety or OCD or another PMAD or not, I want you to have this toolkit because we never know when our mental health might take a dip, and it is so important to have these resources at your fingertips. And it's completely free because, like I said, when I was struggling, I was trying to piece together so many different things, and I just wanted to have something all in one place. So you can go to the show notes or go to the website, abridgedmotherhood.com/toolkit, and download that mental health toolkit because, like I said, I know how difficult this comparison trap can be and how it can really impact your motherhood journey. And we're going to be talking more about comparison next week with another great guest. I cannot wait for you to tune into that episode with Nellie Harden. We get into comparison again in our motherhood journey and how to let go of it. And I can't wait to see you all again next week. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Abridged to Motherhood podcast. I'm so glad you were here today. If you loved this episode, I'd be so grateful if you could leave a review for the podcast on whatever platform you're listening on, share it with a friend, or snap a screenshot and tag me on social media. If you decide to leave me a review, go to abridgedtomotherhood.com/review. That link is also in the show notes so that I can send you a little gift in the mail. Your support helps other moms to find the podcast, and it truly means the world to me. Remember, your motherhood journey deserves your care and attention. Until next time, keep showing up for yourself, mama, and don't worry, I'm here to help every step of the way. See you soon.